Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to play a rhythm part and a lead part by yourself with no accompaniment. I thought this was a great suggestion from some of the folks on Facebook, and so I wanted to do this lesson. So let's take a look at what we're going to learn. Alright, so obviously there's no backing track with this lesson. This is something you can play all by yourself without a band or any accompaniment. This works on electric guitar or acoustic guitar. And just as a quick plug, I do have a premium lesson that's coming out in the next week or two. I've been working on it for a long time, and a lot of people have asked about it. This is a complete breakdown of how lead guitar works, and so what all your boundaries are and how to really do it. So anyway, it's something to just kind of keep an eye out for. It'll be out on ActiveMelody.com, so make sure you check that out. I'll announce it on Facebook and Twitter and some of those other channels, but just wanted to mention that. So what we're doing here is we're in the key of A, and as a reference, this is the 5th fret right here, and that's our root fret because we're in the key of A. By the way, a root fret is if you're playing an A bar chord. The fret that your finger bars, that's considered the root fret. It's kind of the beginning point, really. And so I won't go into any more detail than that, but that's kind of where we're at and the key we're in. So the first thing that happens, knowing that this is the root, is this little lick that goes like that. And what I'm doing there is I'm barring with my ring finger, I'm barring on the 7th fret, really the top 4 strings. But I'm only picking the strings 2, 3, and 4. So I'm not playing the first string, and I'm not playing strings 5 and 6. I'm just playing those middle 3 strings. And I start it by hitting the D string, or the 4th string there, and then hitting all 3 of them. So, and then we come down and go. And when I do that, I'm just barring the 5th fret with my pointer finger. And again, I'm playing all 3 strings, 2, 3, and 4. And then what happens is I do this little hammer-on with my middle finger to the 3rd string on the 6th fret. So it goes like this. And that just kind of completes the chord. It takes it from a minor to a major chord. So you're playing the A major chord is what you're doing. And it happens kind of fast like that. I mean, if you're just learning this, you can do it slowly. You don't feel the need, never feel the need to do something quickly when you're just learning it, but that's what you're trying to achieve. And so what happens after that is this little slide up to this note here. Now, obviously I'm not going to explain boundaries in this lesson. I'm just going to kind of show you note for note how I'm doing this. But that advanced lesson that I mentioned, that will explain to you, why I came to this position and sort of the whys behind why a lot of how this works. But anyway, so I kind of, as a rhythm thing, I kind of do this little pop here on strings 1 and 2. So, and then we slide up. And what I'm sliding up to is I'm sliding up to fret number 10, and that's on the 2nd string. And when I slide up to that, I kind of start at fret 8, and I slide up to 10, just like that. Now the key to this sound is the vibrato. You have to really practice that to get it smooth. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. Some people kind of lock their hand down on the neck. I tend to just let my fingers kind of free float on the neck, but that's what gives it that sound, is the vibrato. And vibrato is just kind of the, what your voice does when you're trying to sing. But so anyway, let me back up here. So what we're doing is, That's how it starts. And it's just a rhythm thing. Kind of tap your foot. Notice another little point here is when I hit this little thing, you know, the string 1 and 2 there, I'm just kind of hitting it and then I'm releasing my hand here to kind of mute the strings. I'm not muting it here with my right hand, I'm muting it with my left hand. Like that. So that's what you want to practice from this point. You just want to get that A part down and just do this over and over again. So just do. Until you get some semblance of that. Now obviously I'm making these notes up. If any of these parts are too challenging, you can skip them. So if you didn't want to try and do that little muted thing, because maybe that's giving you some challenge, or maybe you're on an acoustic guitar and your action is kind of bad, you could just do, you know, something like that. You could skip a step if you want to. Shortcuts are welcomed. So the next thing that we do after that is we go to the D part. And so what I do is I kind of slide in with this D7th chord, and the way I'm playing it is, if you've ever made a D7th in the first position, this is the best way to explain it. It's just that same shape, but played up here. So what I'm doing is I'm on the 5th string with my middle finger, 5th fret. Then I'm on the 4th string, 4th fret with my pointer finger. And then with my ring finger, I'm on the 5th fret, 3rd string, like that. And so it makes this little pattern. It looks like that. And we just kind of slide that in. And really I'm just kind of playing those 3 strings. And those strings are the 5th, the 4th, and the 3rd. And I kind of give it a little bit of vibrato with the chord there. That may be hard to do in the beginning. You don't have to do that. You can just slide in. And it sounds just as good. But so just to kind of cover where we're at thus far, I kind of slide into that D part. Okay? Now what happens is I do this little thing that goes. Now that's a cool kind of jazzy sounding chord, and it's really easy to do because all you're doing is barring string 1, 2, and 3. Starting on the 5th fret, I slide up to the 7th. I'm just playing those top 3 strings, and then I slide it back down to the 5th. So it goes. Now, again, if you're on an acoustic guitar, it may be, or you're a new player and don't have any calluses on your fingers, the sliding might be really painful. So you don't have to slide. You could play it straight. It just doesn't have as much flavor, I guess. So it's kind of a call and response thing that you're really doing. You're playing the D kind of in the low end, then you're responding to it by playing that a little bit higher. Okay? And then we come back to the A again, that same little riff that we started with. And I believe what I played, I'm kind of going off memory, is I started with just a single string right there on the 5th fret, 1st string. It's just with some vibrato. And then I went very Albert King-like there. And what's going on there is you play that first note, and then you go. This is on the 8th fret, 2nd string, playing it with my ring finger. Then I'm coming down to the 5th fret, 2nd string. So those are your first 2 notes. Notice when I do that, I start by really kind of barring the 5th fret, and then or pushing down on the 5th fret. Then I go up and I play the 8th fret, so that when I release my finger on the 8th fret, I'm already in position to play that 5th fret. So you're not jumping back and forth. You're already kind of locked in. So it's. See how kind of smooth it is when you. So those are your first 2 notes, or first 3 notes of that, and then I do this little bend part. And what I'm doing there is I'm on the 3rd string, 7th fret, and I'm going to bend up. I'm going to do a whole bend, Then I'm going to come down and play on the 7th fret, minus the bend, down to the 5th fret, 3rd string, and then 7th fret, 4th string. So that's what we're doing. So it's a bend, just the 7th fret, 5th fret, 3rd string, 7th fret, 4th string. So slowly, what we've got is start with that, and then we go. Okay, and then there's really only one other part there, and that's that note. And what I'm doing there is I'm on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and that note is a pretty important note in this sequence because, well, it's hard to really explain, but what I'm doing there is, first of all, there's a heavy vibrato. In fact, it's almost so heavy that it's pushing it a little bit sharp. Here it's kind of going just right almost in between those two notes. And I don't even know how to articulate what that is, but that's something that I think of Albert King when I hear that. He's the one that kind of, you know, does that lick a lot and makes it really work. But Hendrix did it too. They all kind of emulated Albert though in that. I think that's where it started. So it's just a slight thing, but you're pushing it slightly sharp. So when you're doing your vibrato, kind of push it a little bit. Again, if the vibrato is too difficult in the beginning, that's okay. You can just play it straight. But just to walk through that part again, when we return to the A, and then I do this little lick that kind of suggests that we're playing a 7th chord, and it goes. Goes like that. And what I'm doing there, again, I'm barring on the root fret, I'm barring the 5th fret there, first 3 strings, and I play that little hammer on again with on the 6th fret, 3rd string with my middle finger, and then I play strings 2 and 1 on the 5th fret. And then I come back to string 2. So it's okay. And then I do this, and that's what really kind of gives it the 7th sound. And the 7th sound is kind of the bluesy sound. When you hear it, think of it like an A7th chord. Hear that note? So it's, and that note up here is on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Okay? Okay, so for my own clarification, let me back up. I'll play the A part again. Okay? And then we go back to the D. And we do the old, just like we learned the first time we did the D. It's just really that call and response between this low D7 to this high D. And I kind of did to give it kind of a jazzy feel. Okay, so then we come back to the A part, which is that same little thing that we started with. And this time I do something a little different. I do this run that goes. And what I'm doing there is, so we start with that, and then I slide up to the 10th fret, 1st string, then go to the 8th fret, 1st string, then the 10th fret, 2nd string, and 8th fret, 2nd string, and then I come to the 9th fret, 3rd string with my middle finger. So that's kind of the little pattern we're going to play there. Then we're going to slide down on the 3rd string to the 7th fret, so it's, and then we're going to come down to the 5th fret, 3rd string, and then down to the 7th fret on the 4th string. And then after that I play the the open A on the 5th string. Okay? All right, so what that sounds like in real time is, and it's just kind of a way to return back to the A, so it's just kind of a fun little solo thing to throw in there. And then I came back to what we learned just a second ago to do that 7th thing. This time, the first time we went, this time I did it much easier, so I went. So I'm just, again, it's that hammer on, I'm borrowing the first 3 strings on the 5th fret, hammer on to the 3rd string, and then play strings 2 and 1, and then come down to the 8th fret, 2nd string. By the way, the first time, if the first time was too difficult, you could just play it this way. No right or wrong, just another way to do it. All right, so now we get to the E part, and what I do there is I just walk up, starting on the 5th fret, 5th string, 6th fret, 5th string, 7th fret, 5th string, so it's just straight up. And then I hit that low E string there, and let that ring out. So it's just an open 6th string. So it's, and what that's doing is building it up to the E so that your ear hears it, and then you go. You know how before when we were doing the D, we're doing it here? This time we slide up to the 9th fret, playing the first 3 strings with a little bar there, and come down to the 7th fret. So it's, and then we play just an open D, kind of like we did with the open E. Now we're to the D part, so we just play the open D and go. And just do that little slide again. So all together it's. All right, so then we close with the A part, and what that sounds like is this. Okay, and so what I'm doing there is I'm starting by just playing a real quick A chord, and all that's doing is giving it the reference so your ear knows you're to the A part. Now I'm playing an A as if in the same, this is the way I don't actually play bar chords like this. I usually play them with the same shape that if you're playing like the F down here, you learn the F in first position. That's how I play them, play my bar chords, because I don't actually use the 6th string, so that works for me. If you can't play that, because it's real quick, it's just a quick little snapshot of it. You can just play the low open A string on the 5th string there, if you wanted to do it that way. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing is I'm starting with just a bar chord. You don't even have to do that. You can play just the first 3 strings of it, you know, if that's easier. So I'm just you could just bar strings 1 and 2 on the 5th fret, and then put your middle finger on string 3, fret 6, and just play it that way. Just hit those top 3 strings. So anyway, after you hit the A, what you do is you do this run. And what I'm doing there is I'm starting on the 8th fret, 2nd string, doing a bend, and then I'm going to hit the 5th fret, 1st string with my pointer finger. So I'm starting with my ring finger there on the 8th fret. I'm going like that. And then I'm going to go to the 7th fret on the 1st string with my ring finger. Okay? Those are your first 3 notes. Then you do this little. So when I do that, I'm going back to the 5th fret, 1st string, and I do this little hammer-on pull-off thing on the 6th fret, 1st string. So I'm going hammer-on, pull-off. So that's what I'm doing. But you do it quickly. Then you come back to the 8th fret, 2nd string. This time there's not a bend. And then you come down to the 2nd string, 5th fret. like that with your pointer finger. So let's walk through that bit again. So it's okay. And then you follow it up with a little bend there. I'm on the 7th fret, 3rd string, and I'm going to bend. It's like a full bend. So you're bending up, and then coming back down. Then I'm on the 5th fret, 3rd string, then the 4th string on the 7th fret. So it's, okay, so, and it's just a, and really what I'm doing is I'm starting in the bent position. I kind of failed to mention that, but I'm starting where my fingers are already pushing the string up, so it's, and you're actually releasing that. So now you don't have to do it. You could do it. You could push it up and create the, you know, the bend that way. I think it just sounds better to have it already in position, and you're coming down, almost like you're slurring into that note. And then you end on that heavy vibrato again on the 3rd string, 5th fret. And then we come down to that. So after that, we go to the 4th string, 7th fret, and then we walk down and we play the E7th chord. Now all I'm doing to create that chord is, remember when I just showed you the D7th chord, which was just like that? It's the same thing, but it's moved up here. It's moved up 2 frets. So it's the middle finger on the 5th fret, the middle finger on the 7th fret, 5th string, pointer finger on the 6th fret, 4th string, and the ring finger on the 7th fret, 3rd string. And you can actually hit that low E note, that open string, if you want to as well, to give it a little more depth. And you can, if you can, throw in a vibrato. All right, so let's recap that. I know that was a lot of stuff. So here's what it sounds like slowly. Okay. And that's what it sounds like up to speed. So there you go. It's a fun little way to play rhythm and lead at the same time by yourself. You need no accompaniment for it, and it's a great kind of thing to, if you're ever out somewhere and somebody's got a guitar, you've got one sitting around the house. That's the kind of fun stuff that you can play, and you can entertain yourself and other people without having to have a full band or go grab your backing track MP3. So anyway, hopefully that's useful to some folks, and we'll see you at the next lesson.